Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the library. It is blistering hot here in North New Jersey, northwestern New Jersey, but that's not going to stop us from having a good ghostly tale on a Friday night. So let's get started with our usual intro. All right. How do you like that? Well, welcome, welcome. Let me begin, as usual, by saying hello to my very loyal followers who bless me with their presence each Friday evening. Hello, Hollywood. Hello, Arm Distance. Cheech in the house. Theme Do My Man is staying up late. I don't know how you're doing it, but congratulations. Tony the Night Owl, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, the AC is rough, huh? We can't live without it now. Just these days are terrible. I saw Shannon Smith. How are you, Shannon? Arlene Morlino. Tommy Stiggs stopping by on his birthday trip. Birthday trip for the evening, at least. Baywatcher in the house. How are you, Baywatcher? Adam is working but listening. Thank you, Adam. Always appreciate that. Gianni Catalano. Thank you, my friend. Driving. All right. That's awesome. Good for you. All right. So tonight's story, Johnny, you may want to pay particular close attention to it because it's in your neck of the woods, so to speak, New Hampshire. But before we do that, let's light the candles as usual. We can't not have a ghost story without candlelight. That would not make much sense. And like Gerard says, light it with a match. Old fashioned match. Now the fan is blowing all over here, which is interrupting this a bit. I'm going to have to lower this fan. I have a desk fan because it gets a little warm in here. But anyway, let's shut that off for a bit. And let's shut this light off and get the right ambiance. As you can see, Lenny is here. As always, my loyal co-host is always here. He never takes a holiday. Right, Len? Cool. All right. So, Blood Hill Cemetery is the topic of this evening. Now, the real name of this cemetery is not Blood Hill. It is Pine Hill Cemetery, and it's located in Hollis, New Hampshire. And the name Blood Hill is just a nickname that has come about over the years. And it's not because of blood and gore. It's because of the name of a family, that a lot of the family that's buried in this cemetery, which went by the name of Blood. That was their last name. So it got the nickname of Blood Cemetery. But it sounds kind of cool, too, since we're talking about ghosts and hauntings, that we'd call it Blood Cemetery. So let's go with that as opposed to the real name. Now, this cemetery was started in 1769. Think about that. That's a long time ago. That's pre-Revolutionary War. And it was donated by a local man. It was part of his farm. Donated by him so that the town of settlers could have a place to bury their dead. And so you can think that, or you can imagine that there's a lot of old tombstones in this cemetery, going back that far in history. Now, the cemetery itself is just a nice cemetery. It's a nice old cemetery with those beautiful headstones that we often see in old graveyards and old churchyards. But what's different about this cemetery is that it's referred to by many as being the most haunted cemetery in America. And I don't know if you believe this or not, but that's what they're saying. You know, a lot of people are saying that. And it's from personal experiences as well as the stories and legends that have gone along with this particular plot of land. Teresa, how are you? Thank you for joining, my friend. Appreciate it. Now, what goes on in this cemetery that's made it so ghostly or ghastly? Because usually cemeteries are not haunted. Cemeteries are hallowed ground. So the souls are at rest there. So it's unusual that there would be ghostly activity in a hallowed ground, blessed ground. So some of the things that happen there and that have happened over the years that have been told. Orbs are seen and flashes of light are seen where there's no electricity, just flashes here and there in the dark in the evening. Orbs floating about. And as you may know, orbs, a lot of people believe, are the manifestations of spirits. That's how we see them. Hello, Paul. Hello. How are you? Good to see you. There are tapping sounds that come from all different directions, but there's no accounting as to where it is. There's many accounts of chills in the summer where someone who might be standing in the cemetery and suddenly a chill comes over them, a cold burst of air comes over them when it's 85 degrees and humid. Inexplainable, but some people believe that that's an indication of spiritual activity. The spirits manifesting, drawing energy from the air and creating a cold spot. Now, who are the ghosts that haunt this area? Well, there's a couple. The first one is Abel Blood. Now, Abel Blood is one of the Blood family, one of the Blood families. The Blood family goes back to 1740s, so they're a very old family. But he's the individual that's said to have haunted the cemetery. He was buried there in 1867. Now, wait a minute. Before I do go on with the story, I wanted to make sure you guys understand what I'm talking about and show you where we are here, because that's usually what we do. Now, this is where Hollis is on the map. Now, this is, you could see it's in proximity to Boston. It's the southeastern corner of New Hampshire. So if you live in the Boston area or you live in northern Massachusetts, it's not that far away. So that's where it is. I want to make sure everybody understands where it is. Hollis, New Hampshire is the town. Now let's stop sharing that. So Abel, let's go back to Abel. So Abel Blood. Now Abel Blood's tombstone from 1867 looks like this. I don't know if you can see that, but let me see if I can make it bigger. Can I make it bigger? A little bit bigger. There you go. Abel Blood died July 1867. And is married, left his wife Betsy. It says on there. It's a little hard to see. Wait a minute. No. Actually, his wife died before him. His wife died in 1827, it looks like. It says on here. He was 70 years old when he died, but his wife died much younger. So there you have it. So that's Abel Blood. He's the main guy that folks believe is haunting the cemetery. Now, why would he be haunting the cemetery, you might ask, right? One theory is that he is searching for Betsy. He lost her at such a young age that he is attached to the ground where she's buried and won't leave. So that's one theory. Now, there's two counterpoints or counter stories about Abel Blood. One is that he was a devout Christian that fought against occultists, devil worshippers, witches in the area. And as a result, he was murdered by them. And thus his soul is trapped here because he was murdered by these evildoers. That's one way of looking at it, or one storyline. The other storyline is that Abel was actually a witch himself, an occultist who used to practice black magic and try to spread evil. And as a result of that, he's doomed to walk the earth here in the afterlife. So it's two sides of the same coin. Either way, we have Abel's ghost haunting this area, and many people have seen him wandering the grounds, dressed in Civil War type clothing, not the uniforms, but the clothing that individuals would wear at the time, a 70-year-old man would wear in 1867. Hello, Cinnamon Girl. Great to see you. Thank you for coming in. So Abel Blood. Now, another ghost is a ghost of a boy. Now, nobody knows his name, but the backstory to this is that the boy is the spirit of a young boy who was murdered. His whole family was murdered, and it was an unsolved murder in the area in the late 1800s. And the story goes that his robbers or some type of evildoers came into the family home and decided to rob it and kill the family. So there were no witnesses. And this boy escaped. He ran out from the house, ran to the road in hopes of flagging down help from a passerby or any type of carriage that might be passing by at the time. And in the process of doing so, one of the villains, one of these wretched brigands, shot him down in the back and killed him right there. And it's said that his ghost can often be seen running out into the road. Now, there's a road that passes not far from the cemetery, right around the cemetery area there. His ghost can be seen running out there and trying to stop traffic or trying to stop someone and seek help. Now, there's been multiple accounts of this where individuals will say a boy runs out and asks, waving his hands, help, help. And they see him saying help. They stop the car, they get out to approach him. And as they do that, the spirit vanishes. Another account is that the same thing occurs. A boy waves the car down, the car stops, the people get out, and the boy leads them towards the cemetery, not saying a word, but motioning for them to follow him, leads them to the cemetery. And as the point he hits the cemetery, he vanishes in thin air. So creepy stories about this boy ghost that seems to be seeking help from the living, whether it's recurring help from when the actual murder took place, or whether it's some type of help he's reaching out to the living to help him because he's stuck there. We don't know, but we do know that he manifests himself and he does this stuff routinely. Now, this is an interesting point about Abel. Let's go back to Abel for a second. Now, let me see it. Abel's, what do you call it? Tombstone. Abel's tombstone. Let's get that back up there because it's as important. It's an important part of the story here. Abel's tombstone, which has this hand pointing up to heaven. Many, many people have said that if you go to the cemetery at night at 12 midnight, the hand will be pointing to the ground. Same hand engraved into the tombstone, but the finger is pointing down instead of up. Creepy, creepy stuff. I couldn't find a picture of it anywhere, but that's the story. And that's what many people have said have happened to them while they're in the cemetery at night. Now, I also found a picture of some orbs in the cemetery, which I will show you. Now, this is a monument in a cemetery here. And as you can see, the circled area behind there is an orb that's caught on this camera shot that was taken at night. Now, unfortunately, there has been vandalism in this cemetery because of all the talk and legend about ghosts, so that they've had to put these cameras in there to catch people doing damage. They're motion sensitive cameras that are put into the cemetery. And when this will happen, the camera will go off and the lights will go on and such. So, but the good part about it is sometimes they get something like this on the camera, on the pictures that the trail cameras are taking. So this one has, you can see a clear orb right there aside at the top of this monument. And that's definitely not a particle in the air. It's definitely a distinct orb. So interesting stuff. Hello, Bobo. Good to see you. All right. Now, there's also been an account by a woman who was visiting a long lost relative. In other words, doing her family history and going to this cemetery for the purpose of finding a grave that was related to one of her ancestors. And while she's there on a crisp, cold fall afternoon, she swears that what she saw in the woods. Now, woods border the cemetery. The cemetery is woods around it. You know, it's kind of like a little clearing in the middle of these woods because the old farm has overgrown. It's not an active farm and hasn't been for 100 years. So trees have sprouted up, and a forest, a fledgling forest, has grown around it. And this woman swears that she saw a pair of ghostly legs without a top walking towards her from the forest, out of the forest into the cemetery. So two legs walking, spirit legs walking without an upper torso coming towards her. That is bizarre and creepy. Now, whether there really was a murder, there's no historical background or historical documents that detail a murder that took place with that family and that boy. But That's word of mouth. That's what has been handed down over the years. And as a result, we get these stories. Um, but that boy motioning folks is pretty powerful spiritual activity, something like that, if that's occurring. Now, the last part I want to tell you about this is in 2021, there were a bunch of young men that went to the cemetery to do a paranormal investigation, try to talk to ghosts, whatever they might be doing. Hello, Emmanuel Spataro. Good to see you. Welcome, Gillian Daniels. Thank you for subbing. Oh, the great. A new person. Thank you so much. But this is what they caught. Now, you judge this. I'm going to show you the picture. You tell me what you think. It said that this picture is authentic. No one has been able to debunk it. And it was just taken with a regular camera, not a film camera, a regular digital camera. All right, here we go. Now you tell me what you think of this. That's not it. Here we go. Now, the area circled on the film, on this picture, this is taken in the cemetery, in Blood Hill Cemetery at night, in the dark, with a night vision camera. What does that look like to you? Hello, Osada. Good to see you. To me, that looks like a woman in some type of gown that is basically coming out of a tombstone or walking through a tombstone. Now, who is this? All the people that were, all the boys, the young men that were there, swear there was no one there. You're right, Tony. Looks like a wedding owl. And Arlene says, Lady in White. Yes. All of the young men that were there, swear that there was no one else in the cemetery when they took this picture. And it's been looked at to see if it was some type of doctored, if it was photoshopped, and supposedly it was not. Hello, Edwin. Good to see you, my friend. I missed you before. I see that you're there now. Thank you so much for joining. And now here's the creepy part. Could this be Betsy Blood? Could this be the wife of Abel Blood? Because this is the creepy part. But where she's coming out of, the tombstone, that is the Abel Blood tombstone. That's where this apparition was captured, on Abel, coming through or out of Abel Blood's tombstone. So pretty creepy stuff, if you ask me. If I took a picture and this popped out of it, I don't know what I would do. I have no idea what I would do if this came out of it. But that is recent. That's 2021 that picture was taken. So not too long ago that this ghostly sighting was found on camera, or this ghostly apparition was documented. Pretty cool stuff. So that's basically it. It's kind of a short story because there's not a lot of background information to it, but there's a lot of activity here. A lot of the tapping noises, a lot of the lights and the orbs, the seeing of actual apparitions walking about. Lenny, what happened to you? What are you doing here? Get back in the picture. Get back in the front. Oh, I know why, because of this, because I have the picture up. Knocks you out a bit. I'm sorry. The pair of ghostly legs, creepy. Abel Blood walking around in his top hat like it's 1879 or whatever. Yes, 1879 or 1867. Kind of like an Abe Lincoln hat. And the ghostly young boy asking for help or reaching out, trying to lure people to help him, whatever the reason it might be. Just really crazy stuff. Lenny's thirsty. I know. That's why he's got his mouth open. What can I say? Happy birthday to Stiggs, by the way. Thank you, Stiggs, for dropping in and saying hi on your birthday evening. I hope you are enjoying it. But that's the story from Blood Hill Cemetery, actually Pine Hill Cemetery, located in Hollis, New Hampshire. I'd love to go there and check it out. It's a bit far for me, but if Gianni finds it interesting, I would say, Gianni, go by and check it out. You could, it's not that far from you. You could check it out, see what's there. See if you see the legs without the top of the body, or the ghost boy, or Abel, or maybe Betsy, this gowned ghost. Who knows? Should be a fun trip. So that's the story for tonight. A pretty short one, but I think it was an interesting one. I love the photos that I was able to find. So lends some credence to the story, not just word of mouth. There's at least there's some type of documented evidence here that backs up the tales of it. So I don't know how everyone else is doing on this hot, sunny, hot and humid Friday evening in June. It feels like the end of July, not the end of June, but what can you do? Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. I try. I try. Yeah, I mean, and again, like I always say, my invitation is always out there. If anyone has any stories they want me to research, any legends they want me to research, if they want to come on and tell a story themselves, they're absolutely welcome. Love to have you on, like Vinny Bracco was on. Love to have folks on and tell their firsthand stories of what they've experienced. I think that's great. That's very interesting, and I love to hear them. So thank you. I had 22 people tonight. That's great. 22 people, up to 22 people. So great, loyal friends of mine in the chat. I appreciate each and every one of you. CG2, I said hello to you before. CG2, thank you. Thank you all for coming. So that's it for my story. I'll open it up to anything you guys want to talk about for a few more minutes. Or we can make it a short one. I know Thindu has his christening coming up. His grandson's christening, Enzo. That's this Sunday. That should be fun. All right, let's see. What do we got here? We got Johnny. In my city, the old jail, before it was knocked down, was in the news for being haunted. There was a ghost photo as well. Google Springfield, Mass. Hampden County Jail. All right. I love it. Hampden County Jail. All right. That's on the list, Johnny. Thank you. Yeah, I think Lenny did lose a little weight. We need to get it. We need to beef him up a bit. We'll get him some pasta. That'll help him out. God bless you, Edwin. Thank you for your support. Hamden. Okay. Yeah, no problem, Johnny. I'll figure it out. That's why we have AI to figure those things out, right? They'll point you in a certain direction, and then it's up to you to decide if it's the right direction or not. I don't know if Todd Father's around. I haven't heard from him. I don't know if he was I don't think he was working tonight. Maybe he was. No, he's not. Definitely not working tonight. But I didn't know if he had an event or not tonight. But he was supposed to be around, but I don't see him in the chat. Godfather, how are you? Godfather Sports. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you again, everyone, for hanging around. Appreciate it. So one of these days, I was thinking about going on site to one of these locations and filming it. And then what I would do is come back and then show you the film and then do commentary and show you and tell you what I saw as you watch the film. So I just got to get my butt in gear and figure out when I'm going to do this. But I want to try to check out some of these sites that I can get to. You know, some of them are out of my reach, but I want to do that because I think that would be very interesting. Alcatraz Baywatcher, yeah. I mean, there's been so many paranormal investigations there on these ghost hunting shows. You know, of course, if places can be haunted, that place would be haunted. There's so much misery and suffering that went on there. Yeah, Johnny, I'd love to. I understand, but I hear that it's very crowded. Then it's like a real crowded area in October, which makes sense. But who knows? We'll see. I've been to Sleepy Hollow several times. Sleepy Hollow is a good trip. It's right nearby, not far from me. You know, went through the cemetery there, went to where the old bridge was. You know, the old bridge is long gone, but I visited the Old North Church. It's a great place. I mean, it's a lot. You know, it's a city really now. I mean, you think of Sleepy Hollow in the book, and all the movie and cartoon versions of it. You know, in the 1700s or the early 1800s. It's nothing like that. It's just a city now. It's just like a bustling city. There are these monuments, you know, the cemetery's there, the Old North Church is there, the bridge is there, but it's a bustling city around it. So that's kind of like a little bit of a letdown because you're looking forward to like the Johnny Depp movie where it's like a rural area, and it's not. It's basically, all built up now. But they have something called the Blaze there, which is awesome. It's thousands and thousands of pumpkins in October that they carve into various different things, various scenes, various themes, and it's quite a trip. It's a lot of fun, especially for little kids. Little kids love it. Go there at night, everything's lit up. You walk through the whole area and they play music as you're walking through. It's just a great family activity. Yes, Emmanuel. Yes, that's the witch trials. Exactly. That's where the witch trials took place. The famous witch trials of the 1690s. So Baywatch, I'm sorry I missed this. You walked past what building? I went past this building and it spooked me out. What building was it? If you said it, I apologize. I didn't see it. If you said what the building was. No, Emmanuel, they didn't burn them. They hung them. They hanged them, I should say. They hanged them. They didn't burn them then. Burning was a European thing. The Americans never, the colonists never burned anybody. They hanged them. They dunked them in water. That was one of the ways that they were supposed to be able to tell if they were a witch, if they floated, if they didn't float. I forgot what it is. One of those things would tell them if it's a witch or not. They crushed one guy. That was the way they were going to get him to confess. When somebody wouldn't confess, wouldn't say yes or no, they demanded that you would say yes or no. Either guilty or not guilty. And if you refuse to answer, they would put you in that particular device, which was stones on top of you. And the weight of those stones was going to make you confess or deny, take a position. It was only for those that refused to answer that were given that treatment. And it's horrible. You're just being crushed. You're crushed to death. Okay, Edwin. 2 billion views. Yeah, so creepy, scary stuff there in Salem. When you think about it, what was done there to those poor people, those poor innocent people. Arm distance? No. No, I have never. No. I mean, the only story I've ever told, which was kind of like that, was an experience involving my mother after she had passed away. But it wasn't like paranormal. Like, I don't know. It could have been. I don't know. And I told that story in the Vinnie Bracco episode where he told his story. I told that story about it. Yeah, Gianni, exactly. You know, you're doomed. You were doomed if you do, and doomed if you don't. I mean, it was just pure hysteria. People just accusing people of something and assuming it's true, and and if you deny it, you're obviously a witch. I mean, it's just crazy, crazy hysteria that went on. To wear a suit next time, Lenny, you need a suit and a shave, no less. Wow. Charlton is nice. Charlton, Mass. I guess I've never been to Massachusetts. So, I mean, I'd like to go there. Why not? But I've never had the opportunity to go there. So, I'd love to do that. Yeah, I'm Lenny. Lenny's scared. Like Lenny gets scared of these stories, right? All right. Shannon is saying that she experienced a spirit in the East End of London, where Jack the Ripper killed his women. Wow, that's that. Wow, really? You know what? That's a good question, Tony. A lot of people believe they can. A lot of people believe that items can be haunted or cursed. And when you purchase them, you take something else with you. You know, if you pick up something that's enchanted or whatever, or haunted or whatever, you're going to get that spirit with it. So, or that demon or whatever, it's just scary stuff. I've never encountered that, but that's a lot of people do believe that. Well, thank you, Edwin. Have a wonderful evening, my friend. Have a wonderful evening. Yeah, it's historic, right? It's historical. So, Shannon, you said that you saw this spirit in London. Are you originally from England, or are you just visiting there? As a tourist, I'm just curious. Yeah, pianos. Yeah, maybe I don't know what the reason would be for that, Tony. It might be spirit. Music. Music kind of has a spiritual connection. Maybe that's it. I don't know. That's what I would think if I was to have to formulate a theory. I would say it's because music is so emotional. People love it, and it raises spirits. That maybe it's an attachment that goes along with the musical instrument. Antiques, yeah. Yep. I'd love to live in a 200-year-old house, like a historical house, but I'm always afraid of what might be there. If there's something's been around that long, who knows what might be there. Okay, there's a haunted museum in Connecticut that I think was run by Lorraine Warren and her husband. It's full of random. Oh, yes, I've heard about that. These are supposedly the artifacts they collected from various poltergeist cases they worked on, and they claim that those objects are haunted. Yeah, I've heard about that, Johnny. The story of the Enfield poltergeist is from Enfield. Hmm. Does anyone remember the name of that ghost? I'm sorry, that the story of this. It's not the Blair Witch. It's another witch. It's something called the Witch, and it's really a story about like a spirit ghost haunting, but they call it a witch. And they made a movie about it, but I can't remember what the name of that movie is. And I keep it's since last week I've been thinking about it, and I can't figure it out what it was called. Donald Sutherland, unfortunately, who passed away, God bless his soul, God rest his soul, was in that movie. It was a movie about, and it took place in the 1820s or 1840s, and it was about a family that was haunted by a spirit. But I forget the name of the movie. It's something witch or something like it's some type of witch. I don't know. I guess if you look up Donald Sutherland, you'd be able to find it. Oh, the Jack the Ripper tour. Okay, Shannon. Oh, okay. A Haunting in Connecticut. Is that what it's called? Are you sure? I thought it's called the Witch. It's a Bell Witch. The Bell Witch. That's what it's called. The Bell Witch. And the movie might be called that, but the story, the original legend or story, was called the Bell Witch. That's what it's about. The Bell Witch. All right. Yeah. Thank you. The name of the movie jarred my memory. The underlying legend that movie is based on is the Bell Witch. Yeah. Creepy story, really, really creepy story about this spirit, this evil spirit, and some people think it was like a demon that was haunting this family and torturing this family. Scary stuff. I watched it and I was like really creeped out from that movie. Oh yeah, Sutherland had a wonderful career, wonderful actor. One of the best actors, I believe, one of the best actors we've had. Can do comedy, could do comedy like Animal House, and MASH, the movie, and then do very serious roles also. So very talented actor. Oh, okay, Emmanuel. Yep, no problem. So that's what's going on, guys, tonight. Thank you for hanging out for a bit. Kiefer, yeah, Kiefer's good too. I haven't seen Kiefer lately, in a lot of movies. I mean, he was doing TV, I think, for a while too. He was doing TV shows for a while. He did, yeah, and I remember him doing recent movies, but nothing that recent. But I always remember him from Lost Boys, where he was one of the vampires. That's what I always remember from him. And Stand By Me, he was the bad guy in Stand By Me. Yes, Shannon, exactly. That's the Bell Witch. That's the Bell Witch. Really creepy. Really, really creepy stuff. So who knows where next week's show is gonna take us. I gotta think about this. I got some ideas. Thanks to you guys helping me out, sharing some ideas, and we'll go from there. We'll land someplace good. Yeah, it's too sweet. That drink is too sweet for me after I've drank half of it. I need some water. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate that. But anyway, so what I'm going to do right now is 24. Yeah, I never watched 24, Shannon. I never watched that. But yeah, that was a very, very popular show. But I never got into it. Thank you, Cinnamon. Appreciate it. And levitate it. Yeah. Yep. And that was Enfield. Enfield. Yeah, right. Some ideas. All right. Yep. Stand By Me. Classic movie. And what's his name? River Phoenix. Wasn't that his name? River Phoenix. What a shame what happened to that kid. It's a shame what drugs will do. That's just terrible. What was that, Godfather? Yaad? I don't know what that means. Yaad. His brother is a mess. Joaquin, yeah. But I mean, a very accomplished actor, though. Very, very accomplished actor. You know, you can't. He is an odd bird, but very, very accomplished actor. All right, guys. What I'm going to say is, when he was a rapper. Wait, hold on, Johnny. Wait a minute. I was just about to close it down. I don't remember him rapping. What? Joaquin Phoenix was a rapper? I don't remember that at all. What was he called? Was that his name? He used his actual name? Huh. I'll have to look at that. I'll have to Google that. See what, I'll internet search that. I don't use Google, but I'll internet search that and see, what comes up. That should be interesting. All right, guys. Well, as always, I want to say thank you very much for joining me, spending this time with me. I hope you enjoyed the story. I enjoyed your company. I enjoyed your contributions as always. And I look forward to you pressing the like button and helping me build the guild. We hit 2,100 subscribers, which is awesome. Thank each and every one of you for that. Appreciate it. And hopefully we'll continue to grow, and I'll continue to bring you some stuff that you like. If not, then I should stop doing it, right? I want to do it because you guys like it. So, as always, thank you so much for joining. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless. Love you all. The Guild says stay scared. ALV is out. Bye-bye.